What's up, everybody? Another wonderful Monday night at Chewin the BBQ Fat. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. It's going to be a fun show. I'm really excited about our guest tonight. I'm looking forward to a bunch of information, learning a lot. So if you can, go ahead and share the page, like the page, get it out there to as many people as we can, and bring questions. Bring questions for everybody. It's going to be a good time. But anyway, I hope everybody had a good President's Day. What's up, Lincoln? We went to Hilton Head, just got back today. Your packages, if you packaged anybody, if you had any orders come out and you didn't do UPS, the mail did not run today. It'll go out tomorrow, and it's going to be a good time. But like I said, like the page, share the page. Wes Garrett, how you doing, my man? Good to see you. We are getting a lot closer to being able to sign up for our contest in November. We've got rolling in every day. We are going to have it just through the Atlanta Barbecue Store website. So once we get everything done, we'll be sending that email out. We've already had a lot of people sign up through Ellen's email or mine. We do appreciate it. So hopefully everybody's having a good one. Happy early Fat Tuesday. That's tomorrow. That's right, Janet. Janet, how you doing tonight? Janet's contest is already full, waiting list. Good job. Congratulations. Gas in Alabama, Smoke on the Shores. Great contest. We are on the waiting list. Doesn't look real promising, but hey, we're going to see if we can't get in there. What's up, Chuck? How you doing, man? Good to see you. Congratulations on that GBA Team of the Year. Way to go. So anyway, I love learning and cooking and talking to everybody. So tonight's show is going to be, I'm saying brisket, but from what I think we're going to learn, there's a lot more to it than just brisket. I've got Annella from Snake River Farms on tonight, and I'm so excited to talk to her, pick her brains, let her tell us what's going on out there in the industry. It should be good. Josh Roberts, how are you doing, bud? I've been praying for you. I hope all is well. I know we saw your Casey's email or Facebook post. If you don't mind giving a quick whatever of how you're doing, hope you're doing well. What's up, Chicken Ain't Easy? Good to see y'all all the way up there, Michigan. Good. Thanks for coming on. Richard Crow, how are you, bud? So, like I said, I've got Annella from Snake River Farms on. Be ready to ask questions. She's already said there's nothing off limits. We can ask anything, and she is going to tell us anything and everything we want to know about how to cook a perfect 180 brisket. No, I'm just kidding. She didn't say that, but we're gonna act like she did, and we're gonna be. What's up, Paul Holden? How you doing, my man? So I'm gonna go ahead and bring her on, and I just threw you under the bus right there. So I hope you can make it.
It's all good. I'm ready. Bring on the questions.
Bring it on.
I can always plead the fifth if I need to, but I'm pretty open to answering whatever y'all got.
I hear you. And thank you so much for coming on tonight, guys. I know everybody knows you out there in the barbecue world. The majority of our people watch the show are all competition cooks. So, but anyway, if you don't mind, just go ahead and introduce yourself and let everybody know who you are, what you do, and everything else.
Yeah, of course. I'm Annella Kelso. I also go by Meat Maven. I have been with Snake River Farms for almost 15 years now. We've been in the barbecue space we were trying to figure it out the other day. I want to say it's around 8 years that we've been, boots on the ground in the barbecue space. I really love to get out and meet the teams. And like I said, it's very important to me to be around the teams and welcome everyone and all of that. Paul Holden, we will totally talk about 180 Club, I promise. We last year, obviously, like with everyone in 2020, we saw some things get crazy, just like everyone else did, and it really kind of spent everyone for a loop. So we weren't sure if we were going to do the stuff like 180 Club, the SRF challenges, those kind of things. We've kind of changed up how we've done some of it. I will be completely transparent, Paul, when I tell you that it is strictly from a financial standpoint. It's always hard at the beginning of the year to tell how many people are going to have 180s. And so we would spend thousands of dollars on t-shirts. And, sometimes you would need to order more, sometimes you wouldn't. And so now we've just waited till the end of the year. And then we had some stuff that came up. I moved from one department to the other. And so I just kind of lost track of a little bit about that. And then I've had 3 surgeries on my ankle in the last year and about year and 3 months. So in the last 18 months, I've had 3 surgeries. So it's kind of taken me out a little bit. So I promise it's happening. Don't worry. The 180 Club will be there. We are going to be doing that again this year. We're not going to be doing the SRF challenges. We're going to do some stuff with different events and some trusted partners of ours to just create more content and really make what we're doing more educational. I'm really excited to do some fire pit roundtable type stuff. One of the great things that we have done is we have really great relationships with a lot of really awesome folks. Mm-hmm. And so it's really cool to be able to be like, hey, let's just sit down and talk. I mean, that's like when you say that your show, you just sit down and talk. Like, that's like, y'all are my friends. Like, yeah, right. You're customers and everything. But at the end, I mean, it's like I'm sitting here in cold Minnesota because I had surgery at the Mayo. And, to have teams that are within this area, like, come and like I had some friends that came and made dinner the other night. And, nice. Those are the kind of things that like you want to share those things. I just always say, I just want to sit down and talk with my friend. And I've been very fortunate to make some really great friends that know a lot about barbecue.
That's right.
And so I want to kick it back old school. I want to talk to Pat Burke, and I want to understand why we do a 922 shot. And I want to hear those stories and help tell those stories. And then in the mix of it, talk a little bit about brisket and those kind of things too. But I mean, everybody has their own thing they do with brisket. Right. But I think that like to be able to say, I don't know, I went to Tuffy's class one time and I had on one side of me, Tommy Houston, and on the other side of me was Travis Clark. And I just think to myself, like, there's always room to educate yourself. Because if those 2 folks are sitting in a class, anybody should be sitting in a class. That's and everybody tells you, like, I don't go for the whole class. I mean, it may be one little thing. It may be the way they, turn their slices right before they get ready to brush them, before they put them in the box or something like that. And so I always just feel like education is so important. And that's really what this year we want to focus on, some really great content and some really just cool things to bring to not just comp barbecue, but to bring to anyone who is, cooking meat on grills.
That's awesome. Wes, I'll get to that question in a second, but let's back up a little bit and tell everybody what Snake River Farms is and what all y'all do, because and I'm going to ask a question later because this is where I'm curious.
Yeah.
And when did the whole Wagyu become so big? Because I know y'all don't just sell Wagyu, right? Y'all sell all kind of.
Yeah. So we do USDA choice and Signet. Well, we have our choice line is called Double R Ranch.
Okay.
Our choice and prime line. And then we also have, where if you look at like some of Creekstone or CAB, they have a top 2/3 choice program. Like CAB is a 2/3 choice program, meaning that all of their cattle that are killed are within the top 2/3 of the choice. So we have a choice program, and then we have what's called Double R Ranch Signature, which is the country's only top 1/3 choice program.
Okay.
And then we have a prime program. And then, so that's Double R Ranch. And then Snake River Farms is our Wagyu and Kurabuta pork program. Okay. So our parent company, AgriBeef, we're based in Boise, Idaho. And so that's where our corporate offices are. We have feed yards all over the Northwest. We're a Northwest-based company. The majority of all of our Wagyus are in Idaho. And then we own, so we're we're a farm to fork, pasture to plate, whatever you want to call it, from beginning to end. We do everything and we own everything. So we own the cattle. We own the processing facility. We own the marketing side. We own the, so we own the company who makes the feed, that feed the cattle. So we own every single piece of that. And by being able to do that, we're able to control that process from start to finish. And so we're able to really take the animals and have a really consistent product. A lot of times when you go into a locker and you look at like the meat locker and where the carcasses are hanging, you'll look at carcasses and they'll be all different sizes. Like when you're looking at the bottom of them, when you walk into ours, everything's just very straight. I mean, it's one thing you notice because the consistency is just there. Am I saying that there's product out there that we're more marbled than everybody? No, we're not. We don't claim to be. We're not a purebred program. Right. And that's where you get to like comparing apples to oranges and those kind of things. And we're a crossbreed program. We were one of the very first companies to start doing that. Our founder was over in Japan and had some really great beef and was like, hey, we could do this in Idaho. I think we were in Idaho and Nevada at that time. And, they brought some cattle back and brought some genetics back. And Fukusuru was the sire. And that's kind of where our genetics started from. And then from there, so we kind of talk about it now. And so we maintain the genetics. I mean, we maintain everything. And so if you were to introduce the cattle that we first brought over in the 80s, the late 80s, early 90s into our program now, they wouldn't even make it into the program because we've been able to breed the genetics to just continue to be better and better and better. Like we never started out with like silver, black, gold. So that's what we have. We have USDA choice, you have select choice prime. And then our grading system is proprietary to Snake River Farms and it's silver, black, gold. Okay. And it's based on the Japanese grading scale. Silver is very similar to what a prime would be. And that that 100% goes into food service. Okay. So we service food service, retail, and then direct to consumer on the website. Black grade is the Japanese grading scale falls between a 5 and an 8. And then our golds fall between a 9 and a 12. So that kind of gives you just that background on what we've done. Like I said, we have a 80,000 acre ranch in northern Washington. Our processing facility is in Washington State as well. We're actually getting ready to open a second processing facility. Wow. Brand new, built from the ground up, state of the art. It's going to be in the Magic Valley in Idaho. So we're really excited for that. That happens later this year, this fall, this winter. So we're doing a lot of things, and great. If we
what percentage is competition? I'm sure it's very, very slim. But
it's kind of always funny when we get asked this question because our I don't know about percentages. I mean, I don't know about if it makes sense, but like we have folks that buy for restaurants that go through 400 briskets a week. Right. That's one person. That's one restaurant going through 400 briskets a week. Right. And so
that also competes.
Yeah. Y'all, I think he's in the chat room. In the summertime, he rolls a lot of briskets. But you have those retail customers and those food service customers. I mean, obviously we're killing a lot of cattle. Like it can't all go onto the website and all go in, And so, but the percentage of briskets that are purchased on the website you're looking at 90% comp guys on the website. Is Brad Reiniger chiming in?
Yeah, he says he has no idea what you're talking about. No clue, right, Brad?
But it makes you, it's hard sometimes. People don't really understand that sometimes. And I think when you talk to someone like Brad, when you talk to someone, like Blaine Hunter, these folks that are using the briskets in their restaurant and any brisket, for that matter, brisket, we have seen a huge change in brisket in the time that I've been with the company. And, I remember a time when I had to call people and beg them to buy briskets because we were drowning in briskets. And it was like, please, 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 like, take these. I'll get you a killer deal.
Right.
And now you have, briskets that you're seeing in the stores that are, upwards of 12, 13 bucks a pound. In food service, you're watching them go higher, and everything's that way, right?
Yes.
I mean, you see chicken wings that are $6.99 a friggin' pound, and it's insane. And so how do you justify that? And what happened to brisket especially? I think craft barbecue turned brisket into a center of the plate item.
Yep.
I mean, we've always had those center of the plate items. You've had your tenderloin, your ribeyes, your strips. And then now all of a sudden you've got these folks who have lines out their door, 5, 6, 7 days a week down around the block. And they're standing in line from 5 a.m. to get brisket. And so it's become a thing where it's just like, and it obviously depends upon where you're located. Because I think that there are obviously some markets that are going to, you're going to be able to put brisket on your menu for 40, 50 bucks a pound.
Right.
But most places you can't do that. So I think that we're going to see some kind of shift. Right now, I mean, I can give my ideas, my guesses as to what I think is COVID hit. Distributors didn't want any product. They were calling us, begging us to take everything back, and not just us, everybody, chicken, everybody. They had all, like, food service stopped. And so retailers, people were panic buying. Retailers picked all that up and said, yeah, we'll take it. And then over the course of that next year, as restaurants and stuff started opening up, it was like, I mean, we watched our e-commerce business go through the roof because, that was the only place people could get product. And now all of a sudden restaurants are open back up, and, the two of the biggest states opened back up at the same time and said no limits. And when Texas and Florida lead that push, it's like, holy crap, because, and then it's like, so what do you do for product? So now you have these people who've been buying product forever, and you can't get a product because it's all going into retail outlets.
Right.
And so it's been pretty crazy. I think if we could, I mean, we are in such a sold position on our product that if you call me today and said, I'm opening a restaurant, I need briskets, or I need ribeye, or I need skirt steak, I'd tell you, call me back in a year, because we're that far sold out.
That is great. I mean, that's good for you. And that seems to be in a lot of the industries. I'm in the packaging. We make boxes and sell packaging supplies, right? We see it all over the place. Everybody seems to be out or way far out, and inflation's coming, and that's just getting crazy. So my next question would be, what else does Snake River Farms sell? Like, what would you say y'all's number one product is? Because I see all the time, we're all comp guys, and we want to get the briskets, right? But you always see somebody say, when I ordered a brisket, I also got all of these things to come in with it.
Technically, it's ground beef.
Okay. Well,
but I feel like that's kind of ground beef. Our ground beef and hot dogs are phenomenal.
Right.
And, they're a great price point on the website, so they're easy to add on. And we do a lot of promotions where we put, we add on.
Right.
Burger. I want to say, I think the 8-ounce gold filet is one of our top sellers. Any of those, I think the tomahawk, we have a gold grade cowboy now. Wow. Our cap of ribeyes are pretty amazing. My personal favorite is the skirt steak.
Okay.
So
if somebody were to order a brisket tomorrow, what would you tell them to add on as just a skirt steak?
Skirt steak or bavette. Like, you just can't, like, there's so many cool cuts that, because we have the whole thing and we're part of our own company, we're able to offer those things. And so, we have terrace major, we have hanger steak, we have outside skirt steak, we have bavettes, we have picanha, we have all of those things that are so freaking delicious. I mean, you can't, like, people, oh, my favorite's a ribeye, oh, my favorite's this. Nah. Like if your favorite is a fillet, then you need to eat more beef. Because there's no, I mean, really, that cap of ribeye, the outside skirt, like I said, hands down, outside skirt is probably my favorite, followed by the bavette, which is a bottom sirloin flap. And so you get a lot of those cuts out of the sirloin that are coming from different areas, and they're marbled beautifully. They have really rich, beefy flavor, and they're just money. And they're at a price point that isn't gonna, knock you off your chair.
Right.
And that's the kind of thing, that we always say, yeah, I mean, you're gonna pay a little more for our product. But you also have to understand, I mean, we feed those animals,
Yeah.
for upwards of 5 years. I mean, it's a from start to finish, you're looking at 5 years.
Right.
And it's not something that we're not on a short feed program. We're on a long feed program. We are, we do take special care. We do take extra. And so we work really hard to produce that product. And do I think you can find product that's just as tasty? Yeah, totally you can. Do you think that, is there stuff that's more marbled? Absolutely. But pound for pound, dollar for dollar, quality and consistency. And I would say our service level. I don't know that there are many out there that can compete with our service level. And we've made that a very clear point that we have people on the phones. We have real people that you talk to.
Right.
We, if you have a problem at a contest, I'll walk over and check out your brisket and do whatever I can to help you. And I mean, I've hand delivered briskets. I have sent briskets to my friends that live in other cities and had them hand deliver.
Right.
I mean, we have such great rapport with our teams that, I mean, Brad's a great example. I mean, I know he's going to take a couple briskets to a contest. And if I have somebody call and say, hey, I've got a huge gash down the middle of my brisket, and I call Brad and say, do you have an extra one? He doesn't have a problem taking it over there to him.
Right.
And I think that speaks volumes to just barbecue in general.
People. Yes.
And I think that, I mean, I've seen people who have, lent their injections because somebody did something wrong, or, I mean, I just think that there's so many, or, hey, can you come over and look at this? Hey, it's just this level of, I mean, like, it's like a brotherhood, sisterhood, family where we're all just kind of there to have fun and cook meat in a parking lot.
That's one thing that I've always liked. Like I've met you a couple of times at the Royal, and it's been a lot of fun. And I know you're struggling with your foot and everything.
No, you're okay. I just got to shift a little bit.
But sorry, they're talking about Wes Garrett being cruise ship broke. His wife's on a cruise every third week, I think. But I've got to know you at the Royal the past couple of years, and the amount of teams and the way that you interact with everybody is amazing. That's one thing that I've always just respected about you, is what you do with the whole the community. And barbecue is a community. I mean, it is a very tight-knit group. Josh Roberts is on here. He's one of our friends here in South Carolina. He's had cancer, and he's been fighting cancer, and it's a lot of stuff that's going on. He said he's already got his copay paid for the year through what the barbecue community has done. Right. It's things like that just make competition barbecue special, in my mind. And seeing what you have been able to do. I mean, you are very easy to get in touch with. You are very, like, if somebody gets in touch with you, you're there. And I think that's something that just speaks volumes of you and Snake River Farms. But I just am very appreciative of what all happens in the barbecue world.
Well, and I appreciate that. I mean, I think we've become known as, like, every Thursday night at the Royal, we do the hot dog social.
It's awesome.
And, the first year we cooked a couple hundred hot dogs. Then the next year we cooked like 500. And I think we had something upwards of, I think we had like 600 plus people there this year. And we don't do it. And people will always ask, like, yeah, but we don't cook SRF. I'm like, it's not about what you cook. Right. Like, come have a hot dog, come hang out, come have a beer. Like, it's just about family. Yes. And I think that's what I learned very early on in my little world, that, barbecue is a lot like a big ass beauty shop. I mean, y'all talk shit about each other more than any other group. Everybody whines, everybody, throws their scores in the fire, or this guy did this, or how come it had to be this. And, I've had people call me, oh, my brisket's so thin, it's never going to compete. And it's like, friend, cook the brisket. Like, I have folks who've won more world championships than I could talk about that have never called and complained about a brisket ever. And it's that level of, and usually when you call me and you say it, and don't get me wrong, some of them are thin,
right.
Some of them suck. And it's like, and we're going to take care of you, but you're at the contest. I can't do anything now. And every single time we've had to do that and just been like, just cook it. They've like 180'd. Right. And it's like, and I think that there's this level of like, it just takes that pressure off you. You just have to cook what you have. Yep. And I mean, I don't know. I always say the brisket's perfect coming out of the bag. It's kind of like being in high school. We give you the A to start with. You just got to earn it.
Exactly, right? That's so true.
And, and I'll get people, and so I'm not on like the customer service side anymore, but I never don't answer someone. I never don't but I'm also gonna, I also sometimes have been known to challenge people and be like, hey, can you send me some pictures? Oh, we don't have any pictures. And I'm like, I'm here to tell you right now. I have more than my fair share of barbecue boys. I've seen y'all's phones. I know what's on them. And it's 38 million pictures of barbecue boxes. Exactly. Don't tell me you don't have pictures of your brisket.
That's right. That's right. I mean, it's so true.
We kind of push sometimes on some things because, there are always, there's bad apples out there who try to ruin things, and people who complain and then win GC that weekend and don't think you're going to find out. And it's like, really? But, it is what it is. And so we just try our very best, but we stand behind our product 100%. We work with folks. We do whatever we can to make sure that you as a customer are satisfied. Right. And I think that that's what then lends into, okay, well, I bought a brisket. Now I'm going to buy something else. And that's what we want to see. I mean, I want to see, your graduation parties and your anniversaries. And I mean, it's very much an occasion. I'm not going to say it's an every night of the week item because I don't truly think it is. I mean, for me it is, but I mean, that's a different story.
A little different role there.
But that's a different story. But I mean, it's very much an occasion. It's very much a lifestyle thing that, if I feel like if you're going on a really cool camping trip and, you're going to spend some great time with your family, you want to eat good.
Are we good? Yeah.
Like take those moments to really invest in, everything that you're doing. Like, you'd go out to a fancy restaurant and spend the money anyway, stay home, cook good, enjoy it. And I think that that's what we saw during quarantine, right?
Yes.
Was we saw so many people who were just like, holy shit, we're not spending any money.
Nope.
Like, if we're going to spend it, we're going to make sure what we're buying is quality.
Right.
And we really saw an influx. I mean, I did step in and help customer service then, and it was insane. I mean, it was 18-hour days talking to people nonstop, and just people that would call you to try to, they'd ordered 3 freezers, and you're like, calm down, friend. But, it's, I understand it, and it happened. And so it's, it's pretty crazy and it's insane. But I just think like what we do with genetics and the way that we, and, we've been very fortunate to take a few barbecue folks up to our ranch and our processing facility and kind of just tour all that. And I think it's completely different when you really get to meet the folks that are behind it.
Right.
Because it's real people. I mean, we say that in our, our motto is, real people, excellent beef, and real families. And it really truly is. Yeah. It's the people that are working on the line. And you ever want to like have your mind blown, stand at the end of the chuck line and watch those folks work the chuck line, because it is mind blowing. Like how fast they work, how articulate they work, how great the yield is. I mean, it is just unbelievable. And then, we have our further processed, like our, what we call it value added, but that's where like we cut down into steaks for the website. That's where we, we weigh and label the briskets. That's where we do all of those kind of things. We have a grind in-house. And then you get to go to the ranch and you get to meet Kent and Lana, and they're just this great family who run our entire ranch. Wow. And it's literally like them, their kids, and 2 other people. And just from the genetics and, you know, working the ranch. And I mean, Yellowstone, as much as, you know, I mean, as great as TV as Yellowstone is, yeah, there you go. As great as TV as Yellowstone is, and I'm addicted as well, like to actually get to stand in mountains like that and see cattle run and stuff like that. I mean, it is just, awesome. It makes you really, and then to know that it's all been family run. Like it started with our founder, and then when he passed, his son took over, and he's been at the helm for the last 30 years. And it's just a really phenomenal place to get to be.
Yeah.
And there are very few companies that get to say that they do what we do.
Right.
You know, they can't, they may grow them and raise them, but they can't walk into where they're being processed and hang out with the guy who's in charge of, oh, this spec doesn't look right. Okay, we need to change it. You know, they're not working with the feed folks. They're not working with the farmers that are growing the barley. So it's pretty cool. And so when you get to share that with folks that are out there and are cooking the product, I mean, it's that testament, because then all those folks get to come back, and when people start talking shit, they get to stand up and say, no, truly, that's not how it is. So,
right.
I mean, I'm pretty quiet on social media. There's a lot of smack talk.
Always stuff going, like you said earlier.
I mean, we've watched Wagyu become more of a mainstay, which it's going to, right? I mean,
that was what I was going to ask.
I fully believe that at some point we're going to breed select out of grade at all. I mean, you don't see, like when you go grocery shopping and stuff, you just don't see select very much anymore. I mean, everything's USDA choice, USDA prime, and just like kind of that, Costco's a great bounce, you know, that board to look at to be able to see, okay, what's coming up next, right? Because you saw with Costco, everything was USDA choice. And then they started pushing USDA prime.
Yep.
And then they have Wagyu. And so that's kind of how, like, you've seen more and more, like, the genetics are easier to purchase. It's easier to feed. Not everybody has huge herd. I mean, we have more cattle than anybody in the country.
Yeah.
But you see smaller farms coming in, and you know, more boutique and artisan, and so it's becoming more readily available out there amongst.
Yeah.
And so I am very quiet, because to me, it's not worth arguing with folks about that nitpicky stuff. But I will chime in when someone is giving bad facts about our company. I will always chime in and just say, well, actually, you know, I don't get defensive. I just say, well, actually, I still believe that pound for pound, dollar for dollar, most consistent, highest quality. I mean, it's really easy for us to say we have the winningest brisket in barbecue, because we do.
Right. So I agree. Anyway. When did you notice? Because I remember 5 years ago, people were cooking. You still saw a lot of primes out there.
Yeah.
And you saw the Snicker Farms black come in, and that was like that just took off. Everybody started going that. And then it wasn't, but maybe 3 or 4 years ago, I don't know, when the gold started really taking off. Can you give a little bit of background on that, or am I just completely?
Y'all are bougie. I mean, that's what it is. I mean, it's.
Love it.
I mean, and here's the deal. At the end of the day, you have to know how to cook a brisket.
For sure. Yep.
And you can have a group of folks cooking SRF blacks, and if someone is or SRF golds, and if someone is a good brisket cook, they can cook anything they want up against them, because they're just going to be a good cook.
Right.
And you know who those folks are. Right. Like, and that's the thing, like when you talk about like some folks are moving out, and we're kind of seeing like people slowing down and not seeing some of those teams in anymore. and we have like kind of like this new group coming in, I kind of feel like I call it the NASCAR effect. Like somewhere along the line, it became, about sponsorship and about flags and, and it quit being about barbecue.
Right.
And it very much became well, you should pay me. Well, you should give me. Well, I should get this. And I look around and I think, well, dude, you've been cooking for like 3.5 weeks. And I don't know. But, I think that, obviously the golds, anything that has more marbling is, Travis Clark used to say that it was like cooking briskets with training wheels. And it really is. I mean, anything you get that much marbling in, ours or others, it just gives you that leeway to F it up a little bit more if you do by chance. And so, it's not going to dry out on you as quick. It's not going to, it's just going to.
Well, it's funny you say that, because when we first started, people were cooking primes. They're like, don't cook a Wagyu until you know how to really cook one.
Whatever. I might cook them.
And now it's like, now I agree 100% with you. Everybody's getting into barbecue, and the first thing they do is go buy golds or whatever.
And they should. I always say, like, when people say, "Oh, well, I'm gonna practice with blacks," like, I'm going to the Jack. I want to buy 6. I want to practice for the Jack, and I'm like, "Well, what are you gonna cook the Jack? Golds."
Yeah.
Well, then you're not practicing for the Jack.
Exactly.
If you're cooking blacks, like, and I always say, like, dance with the girl who brought you.
Right.
If you cook primes all year long and you're going to the Jack, good on you. Cook prime. Right. Don't step up to a gold. It's the most random contest ever.
Right.
And and I just kind of feel like Tuffy's always kind of said that you need to treat like your wood and your smoke just like you would any other ingredient. And if you start with really great ingredients, you give yourself a better chance at finishing with better ingredients.
Right.
And so for us, we really focused on that, and we really listened to teams. Like people, like I remember the days, y'all are going to light up in the comments about this, but I remember the days when you could get like 2 briskets for $50.
Yeah.
And it cost you more to ship them than it did. It cost you more to ship them than it did for you to buy them. And, the more things started happening, and had a friend out in California who kind of helped me along and kind of taught me, like, no, if you like separate them, and if you start separating them out, and if you go blacks and golds, like, people are going to buy them. I mean, and I truly think right now, like, if I were to say, okay, I'm going to go stand on the line and I'm going to actually sort out a competition spec brisket that I put my hands on, and I say, yep, it's blessed by Annella or whatever, people would pay more for it. It's not what we're necessarily in the business of doing. Right. I mean, do we do our very best to make sure that you get quality and consistency every time? Yes. Do we know that there's going to be I always say, if you want to buy a pair of shoes and you want to buy the same pair of shoes over and over and over, that's easy. We're not selling shoes.
Right.
I mean, some days the hides become shoes, but we're not selling shoes. We're selling real muscle animals. Like, we're not, every single animal is different. Every brisket is different. Oh, I want one from the left side. I want one from the right side. Oh, horseshit. It doesn't, like, you cannot convince me that you're going to look at a brisket and be like, oh, that's a right side brisket. It's going to be more tender.
Right.
Like, you can cook both of them right next to each other, and I guarantee you're not even going to be able to tell.
Right.
And you're going to get some people that can cook a choice right next to them, and they're not even going to be able to tell. So
for sure. Yeah. I mean, it gets back to the cook, right? That's what it
is. You got to be,
that's why I'm like
think about education. Yeah. Go take a freaking class. Nobody's too good to take a class.
Wow, there's so much information out there. I know Joe Pierce just had a class last weekend or whatever. And just seeing the people that go there is pretty. Brad says you only ship him left-handed ones.
He is killing me. And Bill Purvis, the briskets that are at HEB are blacks.
There you go. And he gets all this good stuff at the HEB place, and we don't have that here in Georgia.
So, and that's what people are like, well, how come you can get briskets at HEB for $6.99? And I'm like, Well, because HEB buys truckloads of other stuff. Like it's about selling the whole carcass. And that's the thing, is that, sometimes when folks only buy loins, or they only buy ribs, or they only buy briskets, they don't realize that we have a whole freaking animal to sell.
Right. Yeah. That's
And
kind of
so
what I
if
want to
you're
talk
willing to take truckloads, and Costco's kind of the same way, like they'll take, truckloads of product at once, and they'll take it across the board. They'll take Select, Choice Prime, whatever, and a mix of Wagyu too. So that's, sometimes they get briskets thrown in there, but we're pretty sneaky. We're pretty cautious about who we sell briskets to, because we don't want to run out of them.
No, I used to be, I would get my briskets from Buckhead Beef here locally, which I think is, now they're some gigantic company. But I've changed to going to Andy Lugo Meat Hustler in Texas,
Meat
and
Hustler.
I know, and he said he shipped out my gold brisket today, so I'm really excited to see it.
He trims them, doesn't he?
Yeah. So he trims it and does everything for you. That's what I think that's really neat.
So you're really bougie.
Yes. I have two.
You're like, I don't have time.
I have 2 kids in travel baseball, and I'm lucky to be able to cook a contest anyway. So I have Monday practice, Tuesday small group and practice, Wednesday practice, Thursday practice, Friday practice.
Tim Shearer will sell you one in a bag already cooked. You just got to warm it up.
That'd be awesome. That's right.
I don't think that's comp approved.
No, that's not. Maybe that's what Brad's doing. I don't know. Brad, is that what you're doing, buddy? No, I'm just kidding. I'm looking forward to hanging out with Brad next weekend. He's coming out to, I think he is. A lot of people are coming out to Sip and Swine next week. And I think it's the only contest in town. Maybe not. But it's next weekend in Georgia. It's going to be a good time. Should be a lot of people. I know it's already sold out on a wait list. I feel like
Minnesota forever.
I'll be stuck here. I'm never getting out of these. We don't have any snow right now. It'll probably snow now that I said that. But it was 72 degrees a day here in Georgia. But it's crazy. I do feel like, I said earlier, Janet, Terrence, and Smoke on the Falls in Alabama in April, it's already sold out. You're seeing contests sell out like way sooner than they ever have so far.
I think people missed them. I think people are afraid if they're coming back or not. On the flip side of that, I think some people are like, oh damn, I don't have to cook a contest every weekend. I can go to the lake. I can go do some other things. And I think that you're going to see people really pick the contests that they love. The contests that are, maybe not necessarily the biggest payouts, but they've got some really cool trophy, or they've got some, sentimental value to people, or like people are always going to go to Banjo BQ, right? Mm-hmm. They're in Athens, and because it is awesome and it's cool, and you win a friggin' banjo, and and it's just a cool contest, right? Like the bands are there, and it's just fun, and it is one of the funnest contests I've ever had a chance to go to.
Are you coming back?
Yeah, and you're just gonna, and so I think you see that. I think you see people going, oh, we're gonna lose contests, so we better hurry and sign up. And you're gonna see wait lists, and you're gonna be, and also from a promoter standpoint, we're still in this whole like we're still in a pandemic,
right?
And people don't necessarily want to believe that. But we still are, and you still got to try to keep people safe and do the right thing. And, and so I think that there's kind of this, do you let fewer teams in? Do you get rid of, vending? What do you do? And so I think that there's just a lot that goes into it, but I think people are just grasping it as long as they, as quick as they can, and just be like, we're here.
I think you're seeing more people saying, you know what, we're going to go back and have the festivals again. We're going to start doing, at least down here. I don't know. I can't speak for the rest of the world, but I know.
In Idaho, it's like it's like bring it on. But and we were supposed to have a contest in 2020. Obviously, that didn't happen. And then 2021 rolled around, and it was like, well, we're still not sure, and we had some sanctioning and stuff in town where we weren't able to do it. And then this year we're opening the plant, so we can't do it this year. But hopefully next year we'll be hosting our very own double over Labor Day weekend. Yeah. And it'll be pretty limited. It'll probably be 40 or 50 teams. We're going to keep it pretty small for the first year, but I think that, you are seeing people want to be out and about. I mean, people are ready. People want to travel. I mean, and it's different. I mean, I'm not going to say the world's not a little different now, but, I mean, sometimes you got to put up with a little grief to be able to hang out with your buddies on a Thursday night and drink in a parking lot.
Yep. Do you have any? So when you get out, I know you've got another 14 weeks, I think you said. Do you have any plans for the second half of the season, the year, or whatever, to get out and go to any contests?
Well, I'm pretty heartbroken that I'm not in Houston this weekend.
I know.
My heart is shattered. But everybody who will be out there, look for Blaine Hunter. He's the official Snake River Farms liaison this
Lord
weekend.
Help us.
I know, that's what I told him. I'm like, you need to remember that you are representing our brand. So please be nice.
Keep an eye on him for us.
I think he'll be a liaison as long as it takes to, hand off tickets to people. And then
Bill, I'm with you. If we can sign up, I think we need to see if we can't get our names in there real early to go to that contest.
But we will announce. Don't worry, we will announce when you can, and then get ready to drive across the country because it'll be a good time. We were really at one point we were talking about having it on having it at Boise State and having awards on the blue turf. So
that'd be cool.
Yeah, so we've got some kind of cool ideas going on. But yeah, I'm kind of bummed I'm not going to be at Houston. Memphis would be the next one. That one's kind of, we'll see, how that goes. See if I'm walking and cleared by then. Obviously, we'll be out at the Royal, the Jack. So there's, the Royals.
You have to come to the Atlanta Barbecue Store Classic here in November. You'll have to come out to that one.
Perfect.
Yeah, we're just gonna throw that in the same context as all those other big name contests that you've been throwing around.
Yeah, and we always focus on the bigs just because we have. It's obviously more bang for your buck, right? At the Royal, I can get in front of 600 teams versus somewhere else where it's 50 or 60.
Right.
So it's just not, and I love the Royal in the sense of it's just
that's a blast.
It is. It's just it's good. It's good times. It's good people. It's for a good cause. And I just, you see the spirit of everyone. Like last year, we raised money for Aaron Bordage, who was in a really bad car accident. And, that kind of stuff makes such a difference. Like when you have people who don't even bat an eye to help, that's just, it's a pretty cool thing.
Yeah. And it gets back like the Royal. I've always been I'm a huge fan of the Royal. If you cook barbecue, you've got to go. And it's not, yes, it's the double. Yes, it's all of that, but it's Snake River Farms doing y'all's hot dog thing. It's all the stuff. Yeah, there's so much cool stuff going on there. I was blessed. My kid got third place in Kids Q. How awesome was that? So for us to do that was a lot of fun.
And the kid who won, he was so cute because
Phil Green's son.
Yeah, I was walking around taking pictures of the kids while they were cooking, and it was the older kid. It was Toby Antonson's kid, and he was so funny because he was not smiling for anything. And I'm like, dude, get in here and give me a hug and give me.
That's right.
I'm like, because it is good luck. Yeah. And he won, and then they tracked me down in the crowd, and he came over and wanted to take a picture with me and gave me a big hug. And
that's awesome.
But it's those moments that just, I'm Aunt Annella to every kid out there.
Right.
And, I cruise around on the golf cart with, probably more children than I should on a golf cart. But, and they sing at the tops of their lungs and they laugh. And I just think, to me, those are the kind of things that my boss, when I changed positions at one point, my boss was like, so you do barbecue? And I'm like, really? And then I had to educate him. And so I said, why don't you come to Jack with me? And so I took him to the Jack. And, there's that big row of folks when you very first come in where it's usually, Tuffy and Darren and those folks. And it was about 9:00 at night. And my boss goes, and I'd kind of said goodbye to everybody on the row. And he's like, okay, I'm like, where are you going? He's like, we're leaving. And I'm like, oh no, we're not leaving. Like, we still have the good night, good luck tour. And he goes, you tell all of our customers good night and good luck. And I said, no, I tell everyone good night and good luck.
Right.
And that's, and that to me is what separates us from a lot of folks. because, and I truly mean it, you know, I mean, I've been at contests where sponsored teams have had issues with their briskets, and I just went and got one and gave it to them, and nobody knew the difference. And it was like, well, what am I supposed to say? Just say thanks to your sponsor. It's not about, like, I'd rather see somebody have a good day than, be a prick about it.
Right.
So like, that's kind of how I've got. I mean, it's taken me a few years to get that way. It took somebody pretty close just looking at me and saying, it's not personal. It's just business. And to me, I take everything personal because this is personal to me. I mean, this is what I do, and I'm pretty passionate about it. I think anyone can tell that I'm pretty passionate about it. And but I also understand that, you got to do what you got to do as a team. And
exactly.
I don't have hate for anybody.
No. That's what's so fun about everything about this and everything else. So Brad said there's a new platinum line coming. Is that going to be the ones that you do your own picking and choosing?
Yeah, well, so actually, I mean, he's kind of probably joking, but we've actually taken a look at our genetics. And so when we very first started, you would look at, like, we would probably grade out like 3% gold. And now we're grading out over 35% gold. So we're looking at those genetics, and maybe not necessarily a platinum line, but we're definitely looking at those genetics. And do we weed out silver and look at some, I don't know what we would call it, but do we look at a level higher than gold?
He said she's going to kill me.
Well, I won't kill him. He's good. He's good people. But that's, I mean, I think that it's kind of the way I was talking about, like, with like Select being taken out of the loop. I mean, at some point, like, the genetics just get better and better. And I mean, if we have crossbreeds that are breeding out that high, I mean, that's pretty amazing. Right. And we do have, just to make very clear, we do have a 100% full blood mother cow and 100% full blood bull.
Okay.
So that's the basis of our genetics. So we do maintain and grow that, those herds. And like I said, that's like, if we find that there's animals that are underperforming, we just remove them from the program. And, then continually. So we do have 100% purebred animals. And then we use them to maintain the baseline of that genetics program. And then we crossbreed with other traditional cattle.
That's awesome.
We're not a breed specific cross program. We're a quality specific cross program.
Look at that. I like that answer.
Yeah.
That's good.
It just means that, like, if we don't, I mean, we are not necessarily, do you only breed with Angus? No. Like, if you can crossbreed with Charolais, or, I mean, in Japan, they breed with Holsteins. I mean, it's a matter of the quality versus but yeah, so if we get Charolais or, something that's going to be just as good as performance as the Angus, we will definitely do that. The cattle do not get quarterly performance reviews, but I do. So if you could all send emails, that would be great.
Yeah, everybody today, she's going to send another
has
email.
To send an email.
What's your email?
Now they know how much we love what we do.
No, it's very evident that you love what you do. You're passionate about it, and you know the company and the brand. That's very important. And what you're doing. And that's one reason, I guess, that's why people love y'all so much.
Well, we work really hard.
So when people order tomorrow, they need to get the outside skirt.
Yep. Outside skirt. The bavette is a really good one.
Bavette?
Yep. Picanha, if you like a picanha, is tasty.
Okay.
But those outside skirts, man, they're money. And our pork is really good too.
Yes, let's talk about your pork.
We don't ever even talk about our pork. But
let's talk about pork. Yeah.
So our pork, our pork is like drop in the bucket considering what pork is. I mean, we kill like 500, 600 head a week. It's not a big deal. But it's Kurabuta pork. It's 100% Berkshire hogs. They're only grown in Iowa and Idaho. It's a small co-op of family owners. They are so freaking delicious. Like everybody's always like, what's your favorite thing? And I'm like, oh, that's good. Oh, that's good. But our pork, and turns out our collars are actually legal now.
There you go, Bill.
You can cook our collars in competition.
Nice.
I will say, I'm going to go on record as saying the money mussels, because we do a Japanese break versus an American break. So the money mussels are not always as amazing and big as, well, which the hogs themselves are smaller.
Right.
Any heritage breed like that, if you're looking at Duroc, Minglanista, Berks, they all, the more weight you put on them, they just gain it in back fat. So it's not necessarily muscle gain that they get. And the hams are amazing. They'll be available again for Mother's Day and Easter, and then they'll go away until next year, till the end of the year. But yeah, the bacon is amazing. The pork loins are amazing. And then, yeah, the collars are out there. They weigh about 4.5 pounds, and that's on the smaller side. And then they get bigger, but they're just, I mean, it's just this beautiful pink. It's just, it's delicious.
There you go. We need to try that out too. So Brad said he's going to be bringing some of the skirts to Georgia, and Schaefer is going to cook them.
Wow.
That's going to be great. Looking forward to that. It
will be delicious. Have some tacos.
That's right. Well, good. I know people ask all the time, when will the 20% off sale come?
So,
or is there going to be one?
It really just depends. We usually always do something in November, because it's like National Brisket Day. So we usually always do something in November. I do always suggest, I mean, I know it's a lot of emails, but our emails usually go out Mondays or Tuesdays, like our promotional emails. We always have like our anniversary sale. Like, actually, the best thing to do is to sign up for our like text messaging. You can sign up for text messaging now. We have a really awesome loyalty program now where you get a point for every dollar you spend. And I think the first one's at $500, and then the next one's at $2,000, which when you're buying briskets, $2,000 comes pretty quick. And you get like, I think when you spend $2,000, you get $100 off. You get early access to our anniversary sales. You get early access to sales just in general, different promos. So it's kind of a cool, like, because we just started doing the text thing, and so it's actually really kind of cool.
And how do you sign up for that? How can
you can just go to our website and just click on where it says Club SRF down at the bottom. Or it might say it at the top. I'm not sure. But just look for Club SRF or SRF Rewards. And that's a really cool spot to log in and be able to do that. And that gives you a lot of, like I said, you'll see all the offers. Like, obviously, that corned beef is coming up. Yep. So if you've never had our corned beef, I'm a big fan. And I love to make pastrami out of it. And so if you're near a Costco, like where they sell them at Costco, they're phenomenal. But yeah, the corned beef makes for amazing pastrami. And, so we'll be getting corned beef. So you'll see deals on those coming up pretty soon. I mean, kind of just think of the holidays. That's how we focus our, like loosely how we plan our promotions.
Well, I would feel bad if I didn't ask that question. People are always.
No, you're good. Everybody always like, oh, what happened? Do we ever get a BOGO again? Absolutely not. I'm lucky I didn't get fired over the BOGO deal, because we sold 8 billion briskets, and then there was a huge storm in Denver, and all the briskets got stuck there and went bad, and then we had to reship all of them.
Oh no!
It was. So there will never be another brisket.
Not going to do that again. Oh, that is so fun. Well, is there anything else that you want anybody to know or about Snake Rivers or about anything else?
I always just say thank you. I mean, we couldn't do what we do without what you guys do. And we work really hard. And if you ever have questions or you ever need anything, we're there. We have a really great team. We have a really great group of people who I question them and test them all the time. So hopefully they know their stuff. But, we're here and we're not going anywhere. I mean, I kind of knew. You asked when I knew, and it's funny because I looked at there was kind of like a cooler war that went on there for a little bit. Everybody was like, oh, I'm a Yeti. Oh, I'm a Grizzly. Oh, I'm a this. And then the next year it was like pork. And then I was like, brisket's got to be coming. Yep. And so when the A9s hit the ground, I was like, all right, there they are. But, to me, I'm like, cook what you want to cook, be happy, do what you got to do. We're going to be here. You need us later. You need something, just let us know. Like, that's kind of where I'm at. I'm all about peace, love, and barbecue these days.
And that's one thing I think is great, right? Like, I remember at the Royer, like, I don't care what you cook, just come enjoy a hot dog with us, right? Like,
yeah, it doesn't matter. Come hang out.
I mean, and that's cool. That's what it's all about, and just continuing to have a good time. You gotta love Brad. He's always got something good to say throughout the.
Brad's my buddy. I'm convinced that he lives the Ozark TV lifestyle. Every time I watch Ozark, I text him. I'm like, do you guys have drug dealers living next to you? And he just laughs at me. But, one of these days I'm going to make it out there. And I mean, and if you have a chance, that's the thing too, is don't ever forget that these folks who you see in competition that have restaurants, go support them. If you have friends that are in that area, I literally direct. So my short-term disability claim is through Mutual of Omaha, and they're in Omaha. And so I'm like, oh, have you ever eaten at Porky Butt's Barbecue? And the girl was like, no, is it good? I'm like, yeah. And she's like, where is it? And I'm Googling it while I'm on the phone with her. And telling her, support the people who support what you're doing. Be a part of that greater cause, and go to their restaurants and eat at their food trucks if you're in the area, and just really just be a part of the better, the greater good.
Yeah. I mean, that's what it's all about, right? I mean, it gets back to that whole family thing, right? Support each other and help each other. We're all cooking against each other, right? Against ourselves. I'm cooking, and I got to make
Don't get you worked up. You're literally cooking meat in a parking lot. Calm down.
Right.
We're all here to just have some fun. Let's do it.
Oh, wow.
I think that's, if you can remember that, and if anybody who's new can, come in and really remember that, then I think that we're good.
Yeah. And I think that's what is why I believe the sport is growing a little bit right now, with all the new people coming in, and you see new people coming in and they love it, right? They just love it. And I think it's because everybody is so supportive and willing to help and everything else. So,
well, that's the thing is that, I've heard people say, oh, barbecue's become really cliquey. And I don't think necessarily that it's become cliquey. I mean, I think you just have to be willing to talk to people. I mean, when I first started, I literally had a little red wagon that I called my swaggin', and I loaded it up with T-shirts and cups, and off I went.
Right.
And I visited with people, and I talked with people, and went to the dark side by myself, probably when I shouldn't have. And I mean, I don't ever think about shit like that. I'm like, hey,
here I am.
Hello, Snicker Farms. And I think that made difference for people. And we've worked really hard to, support groups that do things with, JDRF and, with Cooking for a Cause. I mean, Kids Q, where you've got these kids partnered up with teams in Maine who are helping these kids with disabilities. And they're literally, I did hand out lottery tickets at the Jack. I forgot about that. I handed out lottery tickets. If you cooked SRF, you got a lottery ticket for the $600 million jackpot. But that's the kind of, you just do fun stuff, and remember that we're all part of this thing, and you can either be a jerk or be happy.
Nobody forgets that kind of stuff. They don't forget when you do that kind of stuff, right?
And that was my boss. I have a coworker who always gave me shit because she always comes back and there's stuff on her desk because I get rubs or T-shirts or whatever. And my boss is like, dude, she knows everybody, but she also knows their kids, and she knows their wives, and she knows their anniversaries, and she knows what's going on, and and I don't do it because it makes me better at my job. I do it because it makes me a better person.
Right.
And
you honestly do care. I
think it's 130 degrees out. You go buy swimming pools for the kids because it's hot as shit out.
Right.
And so, those are just the things that you do.
Right.
And I think that that's what separates us. You hire the ice cream truck to roll up when it's hot outside.
Right.
You do those different little things. I mean, I learned, and people used to say that I was really good at getting something for nothing. And let it be known, I've never got something for nothing. I have walked the miles. My poor little ankle can show you. And I have busted my ass. And was it easy for me to learn that it's easier to buy drinks for 2 hours at convention than it is to put swag in people's bags? Bet your ass.
Right.
But that is also where you get to know people.
Right.
So I'm a people person. I love it. I ain't going nowhere.
That's awesome.
If I have to be out there on my scooty, I'll be out there on my scooty.
So that's awesome. Well, I know I've kept you longer than I told you I would, and I do appreciate you. Good. Thank you so much for coming on, and
yeah, of course.
Thank you so much for all you do for barbecue. And I hopefully we can have you on again.
Yeah, anytime.
We do a brisket roundtable or something like that, and just have people talk about cooking, because you did not tell us how to cook that 180 brisket, but I'm sure you will next time.
I told you it's on you. It's 180 when it comes out the bag.
That's right. That's right. That's right. It's a 180, and we just screw it up.
Yeah, it's up to you to keep it the A, man.
Oh, I love it. That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, no, thank you so much. I appreciate it. How can people get in touch with you, or if they need to? Is there a way that you?
I'm just Annella at Snake River Farms.
Okay.
.com. ANNELLA. 2 N's, 2 L's.
At Snake River Farms.
Yep. So at snakeriverfarms.com. That's the best way to reach me.
Perfect. Well, that is awesome. Y'all reach out to if you have any questions, and if you want to know the best brisket, the most consistent, all that kind of stuff, there you go. Get in touch with her. But y'all have a wonderful night, and we will see you next week on Chewin the BBQ Fat.
Thanks so much, everybody.